Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited about today's interview because I am talking to someone who is absolutely fantastic, and you will see why in a few minutes. I am talking to a successful entrepreneur who is having great success against the odds. She's an amazing businesswoman and a perfect example of self-made success in a country with a small population and that is oversaturated with the service she provides. Yet, she stands out from the rest, and her social media presence is phenomenal as well. Watch the video till the very end to find out what her secret ingredient is, what makes a business successful, what struggles she has, and what it takes to make it happen. I am talking to Rita, a famous English teacher in Moldova and Romania who opened her school Fantastic English in 2015 and has very soon become one of, if not the most recognizable brand in this industry. Her experience and journey will inspire you, and I'm sure you'll get a lot of golden nuggets from our discussion. Whether you are an entrepreneur, thinking of becoming one, or whether you are working on improving yourself, regardless of what country you're in. So let's get right into that. Hey Rita, it's so nice to see you. Thank you for agreeing to having this interview.
Very nice to see you too. Thank you for inviting me. I am excited. First interview, okay. I'm gonna give it in English, by the way, because over here they do invite me to give interviews, but it's all Romanian, so I'm excited.
Yeah, well, so tell us a little. So here, let's start a little bit with the background. You are very popular in Moldova and in Romania. I'm assuming both countries right now. So tell us a little bit about who is Rita and why you are so fantastic.
You know, I'll let the results speak for themselves, and I don't want to say that I am that fantastic. I just like associating myself with this word, and then having so many people around me call me Fantastic Rita, and I mean, I'm copying their accent because that's what they're saying here. I'm a school founder. I've been a teacher for the past 10 years, an English teacher, of course. Have been teaching online for the past 2 years now for free. I have my social media accounts, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, which got me famous. Thanks to people who started sharing my videos and, you know, who actually found it useful. More and more people got to find out about me, and that's how it all spread out. I guess that's the only explanation. I'm not that popular. It's just, let's say that I'm probably the most popular English teacher here, but definitely not popular in the classic terms, you know?
I understand. Well, I think you're being very humble because I've read what people say about you and the comments, and you're very loved. That is for sure. And the reason you are so loved is because you think outside the box. And for those of you who are watching us right now, I will link below everything, the social media accounts for Rita, so you can go ahead and check her out. She is amazing at what she does. She got so popular with just thinking outside the box. Like that's just what I was saying earlier. You have a way of teaching in a fun way, but at the same time, you deliver value.
I do take it as a compliment. I can't accept compliments, and I love it when people compliment my work and appreciate what I do. But to me, seriously, this is like, come on, people, that's the way it has to be. That's the way education has to be. And I don't take it as a you know, I'm doing something is extraordinary. This is the way it's supposed to be all around the world, including here in Moldova. And I'm not just talking about this sector. I mean, teaching or learning English. So I love it that people appreciate that. And I hope that more and more people will get to see that this is a norm rather than an exception, and get to use it and to apply it in their lessons if English teachers are watching me, or in their business if there's entrepreneurs who follow my activity and everything that I do. So yeah, I take it as that's the way it has to be. I take it for granted.
I don't know if you're aware of that, and certainly those who listen to us may not be aware of that, but I was in the same type of business before you opened your school. Up until 2015, I had my own school. So I know what it's like. I know what what it means to go through this process. And I'm telling you, you would have been one heck of a competitor. But I would have loved it because you would have pushed us to be more creative, to think outside the box. You would have been a healthy competition, right? To challenge ourselves. How do you look at your competition right now? Do you think you have any? And if so, Do you keep track of what others are doing so that you can improve?
Of course we do. I mean, I'm guessing that no matter how strong we become, or how many people study in our school compared to other schools from the same place, from Chisinau, I'm talking about Chisinau right now, you still have to keep track of what the competitors are doing. And that's just going to be a thing valid for us even 10 years from now. I'm sure about this. We do have competitors in terms of people doing the same thing as us, teaching English. But I don't know. Unfortunately, there's not much of a competition here in terms of creativity, in terms of challenging the market, challenging the students, changing the studying programs to have them really up to date and really correspond to the actual needs that there are all over the world, not just in Moldova. So I'm checking what the other schools are doing. I check what kind of teachers they have. We have this big problem. We cannot find the suitable people, and we are forced to look outside the box, outside the company, outside the market, and even at competitors. So sometimes I see a teacher, I'm like, I think I like that person. So one day, if she gets to apply to my job, I'm going to know that she was in that company or the other one. And it will give me the edge over some other interviewers, because I'll know her, I'll know the background, and I'll be able to charm her and get her into my company. Kind of like that.
You're absolutely right here. That was our number one problem as well, finding the right people. And so people who are a great core value to you, right? People who see things the same way that you are, people who have integrity, people who have honesty, people who have passion, who are loyal. So all of these core values, finding in one person is a challenge. That just gave us a headache.
Yeah, but one point down the road, when it was when you've left, I think, the country. You left in 2015, and I started the school in 2015. And it wasn't actually a school where I was just teaching English on my own. But I remember that my first year was the hardest, because I did get some interviews, some people coming, who wanted to get a job in our company, but because we were unknown, it was like, where is this school? What is this school? Nobody knew about us, of course, because we haven't had any real results or a large amount of a big amount of customers who would have graduated, and so on and so forth. And it was a struggle to have that many interviews and not to get to hire anyone. And I remember I had around 7 or 8 months of interviews on and off. And I hadn't hired anyone. And I started feeling terrible. I actually asked my husband, who's the co-founder of the school, maybe something's wrong with me, not with the people who apply for this job, because something must be wrong with me. I don't like anyone, and not that I don't like them as people. They're just not suitable. They wouldn't make a good fit in our company. And then it all got better and better, and I started hiring the second, the third, the fourth teacher, and then it was like a snowball effect, I guess. But still, it's still a struggle. Even if we have 23 teachers now, we still find that hard to find the suitable people. I'm not just talking about teachers, of course, but this is the main problem we have.
Well, yes, and I understand why. Moldova is a very small country. There's a small pool of good candidates who are still in the country. Let's put it that way, because we know this is the number one issue that our country is facing. So, you're doing a great job that you have 23 teachers. That is impressive. That really is amazing. So, but now, since we talk about Moldova, you are a perfect example of a self-made woman who is successful, who started on her own, who got to where you are right now. And this is happening in Moldova, in the poorest country in Europe. You're making it happen against all odds, right? What are the chances? What are the odds? What's the secret sauce? What do you have that other people don't?
You're saying it and I get goosebumps. I guess it's just the realization of this thought. I'm guessing that my desire to spread my passion everywhere, my persistence willingness to do whatever it takes to get to the end, because I'm very result oriented, which is not so good because I do get burnout, once in a while, and it's a pain in the ass. But I do think that this is crucial, the crucial element here. Also, I'm not afraid to make fun of myself, and I don't take myself too serious. I am the way I am, and that's what I've been telling everyone so far who met me, like, who asked the same question, like, what got you to be where you are? I don't get to I don't know, to be so, I guess it's the thing that I keep humble, and I stay true to my beliefs, to my focus. And I know that I'm not there yet, and I still have to work. And I just ignore everything that's happening around, every person who tells me, like, oh, you have 5 teachers. Oh, you have 7 teachers in your company. Oh, you have this much revenue. And I just keep pushing and pushing because I know what's my target, and I know where I'm going. So maybe these things combined make up for the success that we've been having, but probably it's not just this. Maybe an outsider would see it better. That's how I see it from the inside.
Mm-hmm. Do you think you would have had more success had you been in a different country than Moldova? Does that even matter? The environment and the circumstances you find yourself in?
I'll be lying if I said that I haven't thought about that. Sometimes I think that, with my skills and my expertise of leading a business or being an entrepreneur, I probably would have had better results in the States, for example, or somewhere in Europe. And I had thoughts of emigrating to the UK, to any other country when it was really, really harsh back in the days. But at the same time, I have to admit that it's because of the current environment that we're in what makes us successful, because we probably caught our customers, our niche at the right time, at having this demand for an alternative way of studying English. And not just that, but okay, we're talking about what exactly we're doing. It's teaching English to young adults and adults. And maybe it was the combination of the fact that we became more creative. We were not afraid to challenge ourselves, to try to get the most out of ourselves, to do whatever it takes to reach the result. Maybe all these things in Moldova, they eventually were able to yield the result that we have. But if we were to take ourselves, like the company that we have, and set it in the United States, we should have been different. I'm sure that it wouldn't work like that. So maybe to be happy and satisfied with what I have, I'll just have to be grateful for whatever we managed to achieve in Moldova. And let's just say that it was possible also due to the current environment, to the circumstances, and to the Moldovan people, and not, we were not forced to be someplace else or some other country. I'm guessing like that.
It turned out for the best, and that's amazing. That's great. I miss home. I miss home every day.
You can't have it all. You can't have the cake and eat it too. I'm here, I'm losing on a lot of things, and you're there and you're losing on other things. So it's a kind of it all evens out in the end, and you just have to
it's a trade-off.
Probably focus. Yeah, you have to focus on the advantages and the positive stuff, because otherwise, if we keep on focusing on the negative, then we're going to be unhappy with who we are and where we are. And that's just not the purpose. You're not going to be happy like that.
Absolutely. I agree. So let's talk a little bit about success. What does success mean for you? And at what point in time did you say, oh my gosh, I'm successful?
I haven't said that yet, by the way, about myself.
Really?
It's what I said. I mean, people say that about me, but I don't consider myself successful yet. For me, success is being able to exceed your own limits and to become a better version of yourself. And that's when you feel that you have exceeded a sort of a target, or you've reached a target that was sort of unattainable to you. That's when you can consider yourself successful. That's why I don't think I'm not successful yet. I'm on my way for sure, and I'm learning. I've achieved a lot of, I've been able to learn a lot of skills that proved to be crucial in the past year, especially now in the pandemic. And I'm happy about that. but I know that I can do way better than I am doing. And I'm still working on myself, first of all, as a person, trying to deal with my own frustrations, with my own, we have our own, it's usually the limiting beliefs that we have that stay in our way of becoming better and growing. And I'm sure it's not Moldova. It's not, I don't know, the fact that the economy has gone down now in the pandemic. It's just my limiting belief that I think so. And that's what I've been trying to cope with. And that's why I say I'm on my way. So I hope I'll get there. And when I do, I'll let you know, but I'm not there yet.
What's in store for you now? What's the next big thing that you're working on right now?
We're actually looking for a bigger place for our school to move, to settle in for good, because we've been renting we actually gave up those offices, but the place where Fantastic English was, where we held our lessons, was actually for rent. It was 15 offices in a building in Chisinau. And the pandemic caught us off guard because we did not know what to do next and what to expect. And the first months we had to keep the rent, but that's a lot of money. And most of our expenses are actually for rent. Well, if not to count, of course, the salary. This is the most important thing, but the payroll. But we were forced to pay the rent, even if it was the pandemic, even if we did not work in class. The landlord did not want to cut the expenses or even to make any discount. And so in May, we gave up the offices. And guess what happened a week after that? Not even a week. It was 3 or 4 days after that. A competitor, another language school, also they deal with English as well. They moved into our offices, and I wouldn't blame that school. It's more of a communication problem. It's more of a landlord thing, probably a lack of empathy and lack of emotional intelligence that they let us do this. They let that school move into our offices, but we were left without an actual physical place. And we have right now only 2 offices where we hold all our operations in terms of management, payment, having the managers work there only, and teachers work from home. So the next big thing is moving into a bigger place that will be only ours. We are still looking for that because you say Moldova is the poorest country, and I know that, be that as it may, but it's still super expensive to rent or to buy real estate. It's, oh my God. Even for America, this will be big numbers. I'm going to tell you now, we've found a place that was suitable for us, but the price for the building itself, for the whole place was let me get this right. 2 million euros. It was 2 million euros. Are you kidding me? Is that New York? Is that Washington? Is that, I don't know, LA? What is that? Why is that 2 million? And it wasn't fantastic in the actual meaning. It was a pretty okay building that we had to renovate anyway. So as you can imagine, we definitely don't have that money. We'd have to go for mortgage. And then that's not easy to get either.
That's true.
Because I know that in the States, they have they can open a line of credit for 1 or 2% for 10 years time. Over here, the best you can get is 10%, and that's a lot. And that would be like 2 million euros in 10 years time. You'd have to pay overall 3.5 to 4 million. So that would mean I would have to work for this money twice as hard. And I don't want to do that. So that's the next thing, but I'm sure we're going to do that. And probably we'll try to take advantage of the fact that the prices have gone a little bit lower, a little bit, not much, and maybe find a place that will be more affordable. So we're still on the watch, trying to find something.
I work with real estate right now in the United States, and you're absolutely right. The real estate prices in Moldova are so much higher than even in Nashville, where I am right now. And Nashville is a pretty big international city. And so it is absolutely incredible and mind-boggling to me how that is happening. And I just don't know what justifies the prices. Like here in the States, I know how people look at comps. I know how they come to that price. In Moldova, it's just someone just chooses a price, I'm guessing. I don't know how that works.
To me, it seems that it was like that, because I see the price. I'm like, did they just make it up? You know, did they just write it on a piece of paper? Like, let's decide this is the price. Like, because it does not make any sense. And even the old buildings that are, there's nothing to build from. You have to basically demolish everything and build it up again. And it's super expensive. And it's the city center. And you know, Kishno, you probably remember, it's all like 50 or 60% of the buildings are impossible to live in or to have a business in, but they still sell that for a lot of money. It's probably the land price. I don't know.
Location. So yes, I'm with you. I'm with you on this one. So, but are you still going back to classroom teaching even after the pandemic is over, or are you switching entirely online?
We're going to keep both directions, and that's just a reasonable decision, because we actually grew our team. Back in March 2019, 2020, there were 15 teachers. Right now we have 23. And in terms of customers, in March 2019, we had around 500 to 600 students enrolled in our school. And this number changes every 2 months, 2 months, 2.5. Now there's 1,000 customers. And obviously we would have not been able to have this number of students in our school was it not for the online. So we're going to keep both directions, but we definitely will get back to teaching in class, because there's this, first of all, there's teaching kids and teens, and it's way harder to get the necessary results or the expected results with kids if you work online, because, well, you know, it's much harder to concentrate. Kids need the interaction even more than adults do. And we haven't actually like tapped on that segment yet, because we are number one in terms of teaching adults, but we are so far beyond with teaching kids and teens. And if you ask me about the competition, I'm guessing that the other schools are still in business because they have all this age range, and they can teach starting 4 years old to 70-year-old customers. And they also have 6 or 7 different languages, and we have only English, only adults. So, you know, we're very, very, very centered on this. And I want to expand that a bit. So that's why we'll have to get back to teaching in class. Probably we're looking at this in the a long run, a long-term vision, because I seriously don't expect to have our classes. Let's imagine that we find a place and we move there next month. Maybe even more than 50% will be empty, because our customers right now, for one, are out of the city. And then most of them are from Romania, different European countries, Moldovan and Romanian citizens again. And a lot of them who even are in Chisinau, they don't want to get back into classes because of the pandemic and restrictions and the fear of the COVID. So I'm prepared for that. And I know that even if I do get to move with my school, we'll probably get our team to work together in the same place, but we'll be teaching online the first period, maybe by summer. And then we'll keep the online and have a couple classes in school. And then as the situation, evolves, probably, I'm hoping it's going to get better, we'll grow the number of groups that we form in school in Chisinau, the physical ones.
I like how you have plans, how you have it all mapped out, and I've been following you, so I know that you're very organized. You have New Year's resolutions, you're trying to reach them, you are very organized, very detailed, just a true professional. Tell us a little bit about some of the books that really shaped you to be the way you are, or is that a personality, or clearly maybe books also helped?
I'm guessing it's a combination of both, and not just the books and the personality. It's the impact I had from the people I've worked with and I'm very close to. They say you are the result of the average of 5 people you interact most with, and this is my husband, the people that I'm working with in the management in school, because I have really strong people here. But the books did inspire me to do a lot of things, to take many actions, and they have definitely shaped me to become who I am. The first would be Richard Branson's Losing Virginity, Losing My Virginity. I think it was an autobiography. I love that book. I still come back to it. Branson is just I don't know, I can't find the words. He's the entrepreneur that I would want to be, and I strive to be, but I'm not, because I'm not that risk-taking and I'm not that rebellious and crazy. I would not hop on a hot air balloon and just travel around the world, but he did. He's a true example of a true entrepreneur. That book inspired me a lot. That book actually inspired me to open Fantastic English. Then there's a lot of books in terms of learning how to manage the company. I read Crucial Conversations. I'm sure you know it, but I forgot.
I love it. I have it right here. Amazing. I love it.
It's so handy. I mean, like, so many good tips on how to deal with tough conversations that you have to have as a founder and as a company leader. E-Myth Revisited, I read that, which is telling why 90% of companies fail in the first 5 years, and then the rest 10%. And out of the rest 10%, 5 more fail in the next 5 years. So it was about building successful enterprises, about the company structure, organization. That's what I found out about that. Where I found out about that. And Tony Robbins' books, all of them, I love. Unleash the Power, Awaken the Giant Within. Tony Robbins is my favorite motivational speaker. It's a pity I'm not at home right now, because I have the bookshelf behind me. Here I have Richard Branson's Finding Your Virginity, his 2nd edition. It's in my shooting studio, where I make my online course. The Psychology of Persuasion by Cialdini. I love that book. So many tricks on how to communicate with people and how to turn the conversation in your advantage, but not to make it a clear manipulation, but make it a persuasion. So, these ones come to my mind. I love autobiographies. I think I read a lot of autobiographies, but Branson's was the one that still is stuck with me.
That's awesome. That's amazing. I'm gonna get the second book from Branson, so I'm gonna read that one as well. It seems like it's worth the money and it's worth the time.
It is worth the money. Although the first one inspired me a bit more, probably because he was, describing his way as an entrepreneur, as a beginning entrepreneur, and I kind of resonated with that because I was on my way to start the school, so that's why probably it got close to me.
Absolutely. Rita, and one last question. So this channel that I'm creating right now is all about how to make it happen. Make it happen is my slogan, right? Make things happen, actually. So what do you think it takes, or what did it take for you to be where you are? What did it take to make it happen?
I think it was nothing but my diligence and persistence, because I'm very persistent. I don't think I'm more talented than most teachers that I know. I mean, maybe I'm a bit better, but not that better, And I know, for one, that the teachers that we have in Fantastic English are definitely better at teaching than me, because I hire them and I see the results. But I am super focused and persistent. I just never give up. I may stop for a little bit to charge my batteries, and then I keep going, as crazy as I was going like 5 years ago. And this is a quality that I try to preserve and try to keep alive, because I realized that without it, I would just stop and be content with what I have and not want to move forward and become better or grow or increase the revenue or hire more teachers or start the YouTube channel and so on and so forth. So the persistence was the thing that probably was a decisive factor here. And I've learned that from my parents, from my dad and from my mom. we would never stop work. And whenever we stopped a project, we just hopped on the next one. And it was an unstoppable, a crazy, snowball effect that resulted in this trait of my personality that I still have. Probably it's that. And then of course it's the passion, the energy. They say that I've read a book on psychology, on therapy, Tales of Psychotherapy. And they said that depression is nothing but, it's not about not being happy. Depression is about having a lack of energy. And I so agree with that, because you can't be happy every single second. It's normal. You will have some moments of down moments, but the energy is what decides it. You can be a bit dull, a bit, unsatisfied with what you did, but you have to be energetic. And then with this energy, you can build something better that would get you to happiness, to the traditional pursuit of happiness, right? But yeah, that's what I wanted to say. It's about having this reservoir of energy, which I try to keep full. Although I have to agree, it gets a bit lower compared to what it was 5 years ago, but it's not for the worse. I'm just becoming more conscientious and becoming more aware of how I spend my energy. Maybe that's why it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I like what you said about happiness. I think that is such a big misconception. People think if I reach my goal, I will be happy. If I do this, I will be happy. But that's not it, right? Happiness just comes in sparks. Because I actually mentioned that in one of my previous videos. It's like people have a base level of content. And when you do something, it's like you get that spark of happiness, but after a while, you just get back to your base level. And so people chase the next height, people chase the next big thing, but eventually you still get back to your level of happiness. It's not about the goals. It's about who you are as a person. It's your energy level. It's the persistence and understanding that and getting over this hurdle, right?
Agree. We have to learn them from kids because they don't focus on the result. They focus on the process. They're just having fun. When I'm out with my daughter, with Mary in the park, I'm just focused to get to the final target. I want to get her to a place to show her the view. And she's all over the place. She stops, she grabs a stick, she goes after, she's following the dog, and then she comes back to me, and then she goes the other direction. I'm like, why won't you just get to follow me and go to the final destination? And then I realized that's not what life is about. It's not about simply following, as you have said, following a certain target or wanting to be successful, because it doesn't last forever. It just lasts a couple seconds. It's about learning to take pleasure from the process, from every step you take. And then if you do take pleasure from every single moment or most of the moments, because let's be reasonable, we can't take pleasure from everything, then you are more prone to success. You're prone to get to that final target. So I'm learning that from my daughter, by the way, a very interesting lesson that I realized like a year ago, I guess, because I was too in a rush to get places. Right. Stop and smell the roses. I'm learning from my daughter every day as well. It has been such a pleasure speaking with you. Here.
Finally, it's been a pleasure getting to meet you. And you just gave me so much energy, so much hope, so much inspiration. My day is just starting. It's early in the morning for me right now. Your day is ending, so I still have all this energy that it's going to last me throughout the day. And I have you to thank for that. So thank you so much. It's been amazing.
You know what we say here, have a fantastic day.
I love that even more. Have a fantastic day, Rita, and we'll talk soon. Wow, that was absolutely fantastic. Pun fully intended. Wasn't that great? Let me know in the comments below what you thought about the interview and what lessons did you learn for yourself that you're gonna apply to your life and to your business. And also make sure to check the description box because I will leave all the links to Rita's social platform, so make sure to go check them out and say hi and send some love her way. And if you want to keep the ball rolling on your personal growth and motivation, make sure to check the other videos I have on my channel right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time.